Okay, in this video we're going to look at assignments, and another name for assignments could be homeworks really. Basically it's a great way to use NSG Online to make it more interactive and gather homework resources online so that they're all in one place and you can even mark them. So we're following on from our astronomy course, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a homework to all my students. First thing I need to do is click on add an activity, and then we've got a couple of options under assignments. We've got advanced upload of files. Basically that allows the student to add multiple files or upload files. The next one is online text. Basically the student gets a little text box, so you set them a question and they have to type in an answer. The one that we're going to be using is upload a single file, so this can be a Word document, a PowerPoint, any type of document that the student uploads to you and then you download it and mark it. The final one is offline activity, and what this means is if you've got a homework that doesn't require a computer, so this for example could be like DT, maybe they need to finish off a woodwork project, but obviously they can't do that using a computer. Offline activity will give the teacher a marking book to set them a grade, but obviously the student doesn't have to do anything on the computer. Okay, so let's click on upload a single file. And first thing we need to do is give it a name, so I'm just going to call this one homework 1. And then the description is basically the instructions that we need to give the student. So I'm just going to make up an example. Choose a planet in the solar system and write an A4 page on it. Okay, it's very basic, I know, but it's just an example. Okay, the next bit is grade. Now by default it's set to 100, so this will be marked 1 out of 100, but we can set that to any value, as you can see. But at the top we've got other scales as well, so we've got the A, B, C, D, E. We've got one for ICT which is called OCR Nationals. We've got a satisfactory scale, so that basically says not acceptable, excellent, good, satisfactory, so it uses words instead of just numbers. We can set up our own scales and I'll cover that in another video, but for the moment we're going to choose 1 out of 10. I think we're going to mark this grade out of. Okay, so the next bit is the available date. So you can set up homeworks for the future that aren't available until a certain date. Now today is the 1st of March, so it'll be available today, and we can even set a due date. So by default it's due for next week, the 8th. We can disable this, so this homework just goes on forever, it doesn't close, but we can actually set a due date. And the next option is prevent late submissions. What does this mean? Well, if we set a due date, we can actually set it so that students can't upload resources after the due date. So if we set this to yes, no students will be able to upload stuff after this date. Next is allow resubmitting. Basically this means if a student uploads a document and they then discover they've made a mistake in that document, if we set it to yes, they're allowed to upload and overwrite the document that they made. We're going to leave this as yes because maybe some students will want to make some changes to the document during the opening times. Okay, and then we've got maximum file size, so we can set some limits on it. We can set it to 100 megabytes if we want. but generally sort of like 10 megabytes should be okay for a Word document. It depends on what type of document you're uploading. If you're doing any music or video work, then you may need to increase this file size quite a bit. Okay, and finally is the group mode. Now, because we're using Sims integration, we need to set the group mode to visible groups. And then we've also got grade categories, but we'll go on to those in a later video. So basically that is it. That is a homework now set. So if we go save and return to course, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch roles to a student, and we can do this up in the top right hand corner. I'll choose student. Okay, and now I'm viewing the page as though I'm a student, and as you can see we've got a link to homework 1. And if I click on that, the student sees the instructions, they see where the due date is when they've got to do the homework, and then they get this option to choose a file. So as a student, I'd go into my documents or anywhere on the network, click on the document that I've made for my homework, click open, and then I'd click upload this file. And that's about it for assignments. Next we'll go on to how you actually mark the assignments when students have submitted work.